But the accolades are good. The feedback's good because it's like a sonar ping. It lets you know the effect you're having. Now, and that's Bob's point. I want to go to calls, Bob, but a few other economic numbers here. You know, they tell us inflation is 5-6%. What is it really? They tell us jobless numbers are 9.1. What is it really? They tell us that unemployment is a lot lower. My number's 22%. What are the real economic numbers here? Because they've gone from telling us we left the recession 3 years ago or 2.5 years ago to we may go back into a recession. Now they're calling it the greatest recession. How long have we technically been in a depression?
2 years ago, February, said that would make it 29, 30 months, something like that. And it's an inflationary depression. And I'm the only one that's come out and said that. Nobody else has. And it's been a long time now. But that's what we're going through. The government is talking about 3.6% inflation. John Williams, the eminent economist, who uses a number of models, one of which is the model we had in 1980 to grade inflation, the CPI at that time. And he comes up with a figure of 11.2211%. And I believe John. I don't believe the government. As far as unemployment's concerned, the government's talking 9.1%. That's only U3. There's U1, U2, U3, U4, U5, and you add them all up and you get U6. Now, U6 is 16.7 approximately percent. I can't remember the exact number, but it's in that vicinity. And if you remove the Brit-death ratio, which is the jobs that were made or the jobs that were eliminated that they guess at, totally bogus figures. If you eliminate that, you get 22.6%. So there's your numbers. All lies.
And by the way, that's what
That's
what 60 Minutes came up with last November. They had 33% for California. Isn't the system losing any credibility they had left by still stonewalling and saying the economy's great when everybody knows it's not?
Well, I'll tell you this. With half the population, it's working because they've been so conditioned to watching whatever newscast or listening to whatever newscast that they accept what government through these media organizations has to say. And you know something? We're never going to capture that half. They're the same half that's been in every country for centuries. They're just the people who don't think deeply. And the rest of the people have the world on their shoulders. And they're the people we're trying to get to. We're not going to get to all of them. But if we only get to 15 or 20%, it's a giant victory. Because these are the people who are in industry and in services. Some of them are even in government. And they are leaders or semi-leaders. And so those are the people who, generally speaking, make those kind of decisions that are important. And those are the people we're trying to reach, and we are reaching them. I mean, I get letters every day. Gee, I started listening to you 2 or 3 years ago, whatever the case, and I did what you told me to do. It was really hard for me. And, gee, everything I've got is doubled in value in the gold, silver arena, and I can never thank you enough. And these are very intelligent people who just didn't know, who happened to turn on the radio one day, and there we were, and they learned, and they took advantage of it, and it's wonderful.
Yeah, you're right. I want to go to Jeremy. I want to go to Cliff, LT, Otter, and Ken. We're going to at least get to those calls before the show ends. But I do want to put a plug in for Midas Resources. If you go to Infowars.com or PrisonPlanet.com, at the top right-hand corner, you see a banner that says, buy $2 silver. And Ted, by the way, selling these at cost, and get 2 free gifts. Mark Dice's excellent Big Brother Orwellian Nightmare Come True, and the excellent 35-minute documentary animation special exposing the bankster's American Dream. 2 free gifts, and you're getting a great deal, $88. That includes shipping, everything. $2 silver includes shipping and the 2 free gifts, $88. Ted wants to introduce you to gold and silver. And if you call Midas Resources and tell them, I want the radio specials, there's a whole list. One of them is by 1 franc that Ted is selling at an insanely competitive price, 1 European gold, 5th ounce franc. and you get a free year subscription, $159 value, either digital or hard copy, of the International Forecaster. So you can't beat that deal. 800-686-2237, 800-686-2237. Or when you call, you can also ask for the $2 silver free book, free film deal. There's also one where you can get 3 of my films free with $3 silver. You can ask about that deal. But they've got a whole list of gold and silver radio specials that will run throughout the weekend. But gold has run up. Is it $60 today or something? Or is it?
I think at around 12:30 Central, which is a close on the spot market. It was up around 48.30, and that put it at 18.87. Gee, I was off by $23. But anyway. And it's strong in the aftermarket, which is
that must be what I'm looking at. That must be what I'm looking at because it's up even more.
Yeah, well, I was going to say the accessing to the December market now in both silver and gold is higher. Next week's going to be a very good week from the looks of it, and I think we might take a crack at 2,000 next week. It's all very exciting and. 2,200 during September, October would be fine. I'm looking at the end of February for 3,000 to 3,200. And silver, probably 60, 70, somewhere in there. J.P. Morgan Chase and HSBC are going to get stuck deeply, which makes me feel very good because they're very short. And I'm seeing a lot of short covering in the gold and silver shares. Of all types, I can't believe, and I was a trader for 25 years, I can't believe they're shorting stocks at 50 cents that are now selling at 75, and they're short millions of shares, mostly naked, and they're doing the big stocks too.
So you're saying in layman's terms,
the bag that they're in.
You're saying in layman's terms, they're doing very reckless things right now.
They have been, and the tide is turning against them.
And
take some big losses.
And Goldman Sachs internally is telling insiders collapse, and they're talking about as early as 3 months from now. Do you concur with that analysis?
Very possible, and they got Mr. Blankfein. That's the fellow who's the CEO of that company, Goldman Sachs, who told us that he was doing God's work. And I think they're going to indict him. We'll get the details later. He's hired a criminal attorney, so it's pretty serious.
Let's go to Jeremy in Wisconsin. Thanks for holding, Jeremy. Then we'll go to Cliff and others. Welcome, Jeremy.
Hi. I was just calling today to get some help from your listeners. I started, when you started doing the Google bombs, I started doing my own little info war here with Yahoo's homepage. On their homepage, they always have news articles. And I would find a news article from your website that would relate to the website that Yahoo would have on. And I was copying and pasting it.
I'm seeing a lot of that. I'm seeing InfoWars pasted in to big news articles all over the place. Very effective. Thank you.
Yeah, well, I need help, hopefully, with more people doing it because I think Yahoo has blocked me now from doing this because now whenever I log in and I try to read an article relating to the war, anything political, it won't let me post a comment anymore. But I can post a comment on, a sports article or any other stupid article.
Well, you've got to just get a new username or use a new email to get in.
That's all I got to do?
Yeah, that's all you got to do.
All right.
But, yeah, everybody should swarm the Yahoo news pages and many others. You got any questions or comments about anything else in the news?
Yeah, I do have a question about buying ammo. I know you talk about the feds raiding people who have over 1,000 rounds of ammo in their house. And I was trying to buy some ammo, but I'm worried about buying it online. Do you know if I should be worried about that?
Well, let me be clear. You probably got a one chance, this is guesstimation, one chance out of 10,000 to buy ammo and get visited. They're doing it and publicizing it with the media all over the country where somebody buys 1,000 rounds. I've seen as low as 500, and cops come to your door and ask, why have you done this? And you're like, because I like to get a good price. And you get a lot better deal. That's the only way you get a good deal. So they're just doing it to act like you're criminal. It's like this new ATF regulation that's not law, where you buy 2 or more rifles and they come visit you, and they put you in a database. You're doing a nix. They know you're buying 2 rifles. It's just about acting like it's criminal. It's all part of theater with these people. And so buy all the ammo you want. And if they come to your door, laugh at them. You know, it's time to go, look, crooks, you're crooks. You know, I mean, it's time to stop kissing their you know what. Bob, any comments on this?
Well, if they went to my house when I was living in the United States, and they would have found 250,000 rounds. And that would have given them something to think about.
Oh, boy. I appreciate your call there, Jeremy. Cliff, Otter, LT, Ken, we're going to get to you. It's all coming up. Then back tonight, 7 o'clock, InfoWars Nightly News, 7 Central. InfoWarsNews.com is the website, InfoWarsNews.com. Bob Chapman's our guest. Let's go to Cliff in Arkansas. Cliff, you're on the air. Thanks for holding, sir.
No problem, man. There's one thing I wanted to have everybody to actually realize is that if you take all the so-called conspiracies, like ATF taking guns, federal agents taking gold and silver away from normal people, and what I believe is that the government is basically trying to, or the globalists are basically trying to get to where you can't defend yourself, and if you do get a way to defend yourself, you can't have or set up another economy without their help.
No, that's it. No, of course, that's what GMO's about worldwide. It's about taking over economies where you're dependent. That's the key to slavery. And now the feds are calling themselves, this was in the Palm Beach Post yesterday, the federal family, and they teach them FEMA is basically, you can't make this up, the head of the new federal family, like La Cosa Nostra, our thing, the family. Bob Chapman.
Agreed. And also along with intimidation. That's a very, very important part of it, to be terrified that maybe they're going to come and get you because you bought 500 rounds of ammo, or you own 10 American Eagles or whatever. And their influence on the economy or economies of the world, and bringing on this entrapment process where people become enslaved, as you say.
And more and more, I mean, it's like arresting people and charging them with life in prison for videotaping police in public. They know it's not illegal. They're there to try to scare people. And look, you don't lay down to bullies, folks. That isn't going to appease them. It's time to say, look, good people in government better decide to join with other good people. At the end of the day, Bob, I think God's put me here and put you here so people at least hear the truth and they have a chance to make the decision what side they're on in eternity.
Absolutely. And, you know, I never, ever thought that I would ever end up in this position. I mean, when I retired as a stockbroker at 52 years old, and I got bored, and I started the publication from scratch, I never knew that there was a whole new meaning in life for me and something for me to do, which was very helpful to other people.
Yeah, appreciate the call, Cliff. Good points. Ken in Alabama, you're on the air.
Hello, Alex. I'm a first-time caller.
Thank you. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Honor and privilege to talk to you, sir. You kind of stole my thunder there. You've already mentioned his name, but I was just going to tell you about a great website run by a guy by the name of John Williams, who is a great economist and statistician. And when you go to his website, shadowstats.com, and you click on the alternate data, he's got some great graphs and charts there. And one of them particularly I was interested in is the GDP, the gross domestic product, because he's quoting it the way it really is. After you subtract the high rate of inflation, which is now about 10% or more, he's showing the economy in negative territory and headed down. It's about negative 3% right now, so the economy is definitely shrinking right now.
Yeah, I want to get John Williams on. We've sent a few emails over the years. Perhaps listeners should hit him up. But Bob is on par with Williams, maybe even better in some ways, but very respected. We want to get him on dealing with that. Bob Chapman, your comments.
Well, I don't compliment a lot of people, but he's doing a great job, and he's wonderful at what he does. I can't say enough nice things about him. I don't know him personally. I just know his work, and if you can get him on, I think that would be wonderful, because I think it would give people an insight to the things that I just kind of gloss over, because I cover so many avenues.
Sure, he just covers the fake stats. Thank you so much, caller. We appreciate that. You know what? I promise to get these last 2 calls. So it's 5 minutes overdrive. The main radio show's over. See you tonight. InfoWars Nightly News.